Alafia. It's been almost 36 years since I was initially initiated into Santeria and Lucumi. That initiation followed a series of what at the time I considered coincidences that were apparently unexplainable and that I desperately wished to find a rational reason to explain. Little did I know that the search for a rational reason and Santeria and Lucumi were inherently contradictory. But at the time, there was no Ifa virtually in the United States of America. It was even difficult to find out whether or not the practice of this thousands of years old African tradition still existed over there. And only academic books like those by Bascom and others pointed out that indeed it was still practiced as it had been for thousands of years. It was some time later that I no longer could handle the worldview of Santeria. I no longer could deal with asking questions that nobody would answer, that I was told were either a secret, or I was told that I wasn't ready for, or I was told even that I was impertinent to be asking. I also observed behavior, which I'm not ascribing to the entire Santeria and Lucumi complex, but I observed behavior which just did not exhibit good character. I observed incredible discrimination against women. I observed incredible prejudice regarding sexual orientation. I observed an almost maniacal obsession with power and a minimal obsession with learning. And now, 36 years later, after having found genuine Ifa through my friend and mentor, the late Afolabi Pega, fifth generation African Babalawo, whose grandfather, the Patriarch of Pega, had been the primary informant for William Bascom's books, and whose personal Igba guides the Ifa Foundation. I begin to once again hear an increasing amount of people suggest that there's very little or virtually no difference between Santeria, Lucumi, and Ifa. That's absurd. Everybody is free to choose that which they want and that which they're comfortable with. But in my own case, I was guided by a highly trained intellect, well-educated, that believed that spirituality could be understood, that it had to be rational, that there were logical reasons for doing things. Understand that Santeria and Lucumi is a construct that took place after the Africans were kidnapped forcibly from their homes, put on ships, and turned into slaves for sale in the Western world, primarily the Caribbean. Each and every African on those boats was forced to be baptized into Christianity. Oh, they had a choice, but that choice would have been to forfeit their life. So sensibly, they acquiesced. Upon landing, the Yoruba men and women and families that had been kidnapped and who practiced and expressed genuine, consistent, logical Ifa philosophy, along with all other families, were broken up. A Yoruba man would be paired with a Fan woman, with a Congo child. The theory was that if you broke up the families, there would be less danger of a revolt. And so these newly formed groups had to come to grips with the reality of making adjustments and compromises with the different belief systems. Fan and Congo, for example, much more negative energy. It's where Vudan comes from today, as opposed to Ifa's view of only using positive energy in your life. On top of that, they had to go to church. And while they may suggest that their selection of St. Barbara as the icon to talk to and communicate with Shango doesn't cloud the picture. The truth is it increasingly clouded the picture, because what they did over a period of time was they adopted and accepted the Catholic worldview. That, beyond any of the specifics, beyond the fact that Ifa has been initiating women as Ifa priests for thousands of years and continues to do so today, the fact that Ifa has no Odu or preconceptions about race, gender, sexual preferences. Ifa is about character. It's about the use of powerful, positive energy to protect your life and those that you love, to grow, to reach fulfillment. And instead, they accepted the Catholic worldview of a malevolent universe rather than the benevolent one they believed in. They accepted the inclusion suddenly of a devil which doesn't even exist in Ifa. They accepted the prejudice against lesbians, homosexuals, women as second or perhaps third-class citizens, and on and on and on. And it is that worldview, more than exactly how you do a ceremony or how you do anything else, that separates and defines the distinctive, powerful differences between traditional Ifa and Santeria Lucumi. You can't have traditional Ifa if you believe in a devil or if you believe that this is a malevolent universe out to get you. You cannot practice traditional Ifa if you discriminate unilaterally against any group for any reason. Because Ifa, as has been practiced for thousands of years in Africa and is practiced there today, and Ifa is practiced by the Ifa Foundation of North America, which we founded in 1982, and which has the largest web presence, the largest amount of free information and knowledge on the World Wide Web regarding these subjects, practices from that premise as well. It is a benevolent world. And so don't accept in this passive fashion that because people state that Santeria Lucumi is simply Caribbean Ifa, or Ifa with a few saints thrown in. Understand that Santeria Lucumi is a potpourri, a stew of probably 25% Ifa, 30 or 40% Catholicism, 5 or 10% Fan and Congo, a sprinkling of French Spiritism, and other ingredients, all of which mix together to form something that expresses a negative, frightening worldview, that expresses the goal of dependence, of disempowerment, rather than the role of empowerment and growth. So if they choose to fool themselves, so be it. Don't let them fool you. For thousands of years, Ifa has been practiced the way that empowers, accepts, deals with good character and only positive energy. And the several hundred years of strangeness that events indeed may have forced to occur, but logic should have repaired upon their freedom, has to be taken into consideration and, from my perspective, avoided. You cannot get good results in the long term by disempowering yourself or through fear, prejudice, and discrimination. Until next time, love and blessings.